All right. Good morning, everybody. Looks like we are good to go. So I will say good morning. Happy Thursday to everyone. Today is October 20th, 2022. My name is Jared, and this is Engineering the Markets. So welcome back to just our kind of overall overview of market volatility and some of the characteristics we're seeing. As you can tell, markets really aren't moving directional as of the past couple of weeks. We've been trapped in this range for quite a while with some pretty heavy buy and sell swings near the extremes. From our quantitative view and from the weekly expected move, we're skirting this upper bound throughout most of the week. We had a mild breach on Tuesday, came back inside yesterday's session, and most of our trade is kind of focused in on this 3,700 region of the SPX. So as the market sort of tries to resolve this area, and obviously as a directional bias is yet to really be ascertained, we continue to kind of monitor what sort of catalysts will start to drive some more directional bias, along with what sort of signals can we be on the lookout for. Yesterday, I provided a little bit of context into what I'm reviewing, which is the high correlation to 2008 and the technical structure that we may or may not be aligned to. This bullish drift that we might be encountering over the next month or so is going to be challenging to analyze if it looks anything like 2008's bear flag, the flag before the collapse. So as the market tries to align towards that and potentially break that model, I'm kind of keeping an eye on a few things that'll hopefully give us some edge into the next move, along with some sectors in focus and, as always, our earnings cycle, which is going on currently. So not too much to report on the SPY and the Qs. I can drill this point home for quite a while, but the more you look at the past couple of weeks, the more you recognize that the market's not really going anywhere. There's certainly highs and lows, and there's some extremes that we had to deal with, but this central area that we're located in, and even some of the volume profile adjustments, as we transact a little higher, you might see your volume profile VPOC start to change, especially if you're kind of cutting off data, past 10 days. I would argue that our VPOC has been aligning a bit higher from the CPI reaction. And then, of course, that 360, 350 is probably our main high volume node that was established past couple weeks. So, and as I mentioned before, there's a lot of open interest building in this area. So we want to be careful whenever a directional move is chosen, whatever it happens to be. We'll kind of look at the Qs as well for a little clarity. Whatever that bias happens to be, we want to be careful of the energy that could be released from this area. You get a lot of participation in one zone, typically range or some sort of compression area, and the catalyst that moves you outside tends to be quite impactful. It tends to have a lot of momentum to it. Arguing, of course, against the 2008 grind, which would be a more slow and steady move away from this area. Both are on the table. I don't necessarily think it's the best time to be fully short biased, but until the market resolves this, the trend is still very much downside for now. So what are some things to look at maybe for clarity? I'm keeping an eye on high yield corporate debt. And the reason I'm doing that is if you're looking at the correlation between this and our SPX, most of this year has been to some degree advertised or led by significant moves in high yield corporate debt compared to the move in the S&P. So the idea was that if HYG is moving lower, there's a higher probability that the SPX will also move in tandem. If the high yield corporate debt bounces or kind of retraces a bit, the S&P can retrace as well. The range of that retracement is different, but it's more about your waves of high and lows where the pivots tend to form. And this has been a great indicator for kind of staying on the right side of the trade for as long as possible, and then understanding if there's going to be a possible shift or just a short-term retracement. Some things I'm noticing now is HYG, similar to the S&P, is starting to breach those very aggressive trend lines, sort of our daily downtrend lines. We're setting up on the top of them. And this is where reversal structures can form. You want to be thinking inverse head and shoulder based on price activity. But overall, we would want to see this HYG kind of reclaim the June lows. Similar to the S&P, we're trying to defend the June lows, but we haven't really seen upside. It's more or less a flat based area of our chart. And until this kind of shows any different, we might see back and forth trade or that slow grind to the upside. Yeah, it's amazing how similar these charts are in their technical structure, along with the nature of risk on, risk off in this market. So that's one thing I'm tracking. Obviously, dollar continues to be in focus, really not losing our uptrend yet, but a relative high is set, and we do have a potential lower high, but a higher low is also on the way. So that compression event is forming from our volatility risk reversal. In regards to the dollar trade, gold and silver will kind of follow suit. Gold's actually coming back off very quickly as compared to the dollar, which is just stalling. So that's kind of been a high degree of inverse correlation this year. And the gold trade continues to be put under pressure so long as dollar remains elevated. Same idea with silver as well. You can see these risk reversals in the dollar facilitated big bounces in these products, but even through consolidation, the metals have actually given it all back. So it's a very interesting degree of correlation in these products. I believe that's also going to be true for a lot of our commodity trades, whether you're looking at a basket of commodities or you're kind of focusing in on ones that are the most sensitive to this international dynamic of strong dollar, weaker other currencies. This continues to be a theme, and we haven't really seen that quintessential trend change quite yet. And then last but not least, volatility. So, I've talked through this backwardated vol futures, definitely waiting to see if that comes off. If it does start to unwind, then I would expect a little bit more upside in the S&P. And of course, that grind can continue, but it's still an advancing chart, even though it is corrective. So that's what I've been watching. Short term, in focus today was, of course, Tesla's earnings. We did see them report probably worse than average numbers and a little bit of a bearish reaction into the actual release of the numbers and the earnings call, seeing more of a fade from yesterday's close. The expected move here was about $20. I would argue that we're inside the expected move, but we didn't really go to the extremes. A 220 close should have moved to about 200 on a bearish reaction. We got to about 205 at probably the deepest, 206. And we're still within those bounds. So overall, this has been another case for the expected move. You don't really want to trade too much outside of it because it's a more rare occurrence. And if you're just playing the probabilities, you're much more likely to be at or inside that range. Hence why the premium selling opportunities are so attractive. We also had IBM, about a $7 expected move on this one. Nice response to the upside. 122.50 close up to about 130. So that does find itself within that range. How do you get expected move? Go to the option market right before earnings, check and see what an at the money straddle is priced at. And a lot of platforms will just give you that number automatically. So yesterday, a 122 straddle was about $7. A 123 straddle, since we're at the 50-cent mark, it's about $7. So that's your expected move. It's a kind of rough and dirty way to do it, but it's pretty accurate. So that's all you need to really know for earnings is what is the market pricing, and trying to take advantage of the high IV. And then last but not least was Alcoa. There's a few more that reported, but these were the ones that moved pretty well. About a $3.50 expected move at the close. It's actually a little adjusted today. And you'll notice, probably a mid strike of 325. So, 50 cents plus or minus $3 to $3.50 expected move. Closing at 37.50. We're looking to open between 33 and 34. That puts you pretty close. You're definitely on the extremes of this expected move. And if Alcoa does fade lower, you'll actually start to be in the breach category of more downside. So lots of movement in the NASDAQ based on Tesla's earnings. That's kind of the response we saw after hours. Some people were asking, what does Tesla's earnings have to do with other stocks? Why are other stocks responding? I think it's more of that correlated behavior occurring throughout the entire index, ETFs, and products, simply because of the correlation that we have and the very tight open interest range that we're trading. So it's a correlated move. If Tesla reprices, it kind of means that a lot of other stocks need to reprice relative to a move in the index. So it's a bit of a short and sweet answer to someone who was saying, why are these stocks moving? It's not their earnings. Think about the kind of momentum and market cap that Tesla holds. You have to adjust other stocks accordingly. So Moderna. Someone's asking about Moderna, and this will kind of be our shift back into Q&A. It is Thursday, so feel free to load up any questions. Advice on Moderna. Well, I can't advise anything, but I can look at the chart. Moderna is still in a pretty significant downtrend. There's been bounces along the way, but you could argue that there's only been 1 or 2 monthly bounces. So we're skirting at some monthly support right now. This area is pretty attractive based on this zone, but like a lot of cyclical names that we've seen, Moderna is kind of interesting because it's not classified as a cyclical. It just had a cyclical catalyst with the pandemic. These stocks have been taking it on the shoulder. If you're looking at technical support, you're pretty close. That doesn't mean that it's going to hold forever. And, if I'm looking downside because the trend facilitates it, there's definitely a little bit more room down here. You're actually starting to get onto your weekly 200. It's just starting to form. But I bet if I pull this out a little bit more, nope, that's all the data I have. So there's a weekly 200 that just formed. And that's where your price is right now. So So with the expected $20 move on Tesla sitting at about 299, does that mean a positive basis on the stock this morning? Opportunity to get to 200? We don't know, Mickey. The problem with trying to anticipate directional bias after earnings is if the stock really didn't move to those extremes, who's to say that anyone's going to buy it after this earnings to keep the price elevated? And additionally, look where we are. We're at 210. There's a lot of open interest here too. 200's heavier, but we didn't go there. So the bias right now is down, just based on the bearish reaction. It doesn't mean that intraday it's not going to bounce or just not move any lower. Sometimes the actual earnings candle represents the highs and lows for the rest of the week. That whole range could be traded back and forth, and we don't necessarily have to see lower than 206. So it's hard to say. It really is. If it were up to me, if the market goes weak, Tesla's a decent candidate to have downside because it's already a weak daily. It reported its earnings, and there's a natural volume and value draw to 200. That's what the option market says. So you need a lot of things to be in alignment just to get there. And, sometimes you just don't get to those prices, not in the time that you need. Let's see. What is plus or minus on top right of option screen? This guy? I believe this is some representation of expected move, but I'm not sure. Trying to see if I can get information from other stocks. It looks like it's related to this, but you can see the numbers are different, so I wouldn't know exactly how this is calculated. So I'm not sure. You'd have to look up Thinkorswim and see what that number is. Snap levels. Yeah, so Snap is coming out with earnings come next week, 10/20, or no, it's this afternoon. I thought it was next week. So what's the market pricing? Well, first off, recognize what the market is doing to the implied volatility. This is really, really high. $2 doesn't sound like a lot, but the stock's only $10.50, $10, 11 at the most. So $2 is a lot of movement percentage-wise. It's also true that they're pricing this for Friday. So these are really, really elevated. Even though it doesn't look like it, it's percentage related. I don't have a lot of, bias towards one way or the other. The option market doesn't look like it has a significant bias either. There's open interest all over this thing. If I'm looking maybe at the ladder, it looks like there's a bit more of a call ladder. So if Snap were to move $2 and it's moving higher, I know that the option market can handle a move to 13, no problem, and even possibly to 14 if it's a slight breach. That would be a $3 move on an 11-ish dollar stock. So these moves and the drivers behind them would be kind of interesting, but you need a ladder. And this one has a full ladder, so it can move through them easily. Probably not quickly though. It's always a plus or minus. Like you want to have rungs on a ladder in the option market to get to a target, but stocks that don't have rungs at particular strikes can move through them quickly. So you'll get momentum from dollar to dollar if the 50-cent strike is missing. This one's a little different. It's 30,000, 10,000, 20,000, 12,000, 42,000. So it's pretty full. along the way. But really all you need to know, like, don't worry about the technicals here. Earnings is going to move the stock. There's not much you can do with this technical chart from earnings. In fact, you know, if I'm using earnings the past 2 cycles, I probably would have died because this thing collapsed and collapsed. So, you know, forget technicals and earnings. Use the expected move as best you can and be quantitative about it. So, okay. Is there a webinar for the expected move during earnings? No, I don't think there is. There's webinars on what is expected move, and there's a little bit of webinar discussion on trading some earnings plays. The combination of those two and the full overview, probably not yet. I don't think we have a webinar on that. So, in relation to Tesla earnings being negative, very curious about this. Essentially, Stephen, I think you have the right mindset about it. Like if a stock like Tesla loses 20 billion in market cap over the course of an earnings, it means that the SPX lost that market cap. Like it went down in price. That also means that the relative market cap weighting across how the index tracks stocks has to devalue other stocks relative to that move. So an arbitrage kind of approach is you often will reprice a lot of things relative to a swing in your index product, especially now. That's not always true in general, but I think now things are so correlated that you get a significant move in a Tesla, in an Apple, and a Microsoft, it's going to move everything down with it. Even though there's no real catalyst on the other stocks, it's just the nature of repricing a market. One stock is moving down, so the relative market cap of all stocks has to coincide with the total market cap of the S&P is kind of the idea. So it's very much a if-then scenario. So it looks like y'all found the MM stuff, so I'm glad. Can you review an iron fly? It's been a while since I looked at that. Maybe we could do that in the chat room. Let's do that tomorrow during my session. What happens when a stock moves out of expected move? More downward upward pressure, typically MS, especially on a Friday, you know, the expiration. So when you think about the expected move in general, let's pick your favorite stock, pick an Apple, you know, whatever, doesn't really matter. You need a heavy option market. There's people, firms, institutions just trading in here. Tons of orders going through. I mean, look at how heavy the open interest is. Apple on any typical day will trade about 1 million contracts. That's pretty normal for Apple. It's a pretty heavy traded option market. Now, when that happens, people are hedging. The people selling you your calls and your puts are hedging the risk that they're now taking on because they're not directionally biased. You are. You know, someone else is. Someone else wants to take the directional risk. The market maker doesn't. They hedge by buying and selling the underlying, typically. And if it's in the S&P, they might use the VIX, they might use ES futures. You know, you use what you have to do to hedge the directional side. When you get outside of expected move, that's when a lot of this centralized trade around a region that has been priced effectively by the option market, it starts to put pressure on those participants. One side is wrong, one side is right, and there's still a lot of hedging going on. So whenever those unwinds and possibly some new participation enters, it puts more and more pressure on those who maybe haven't covered. So you can think of it like breaking out of a range to some degree, but it's more of a quantitative range, not necessarily a technical or price range. But the idea is similar. The more participation you have in a price region, and the expected move tends to define an area of interest, open interest being the key here. When you start to get out of those boundaries, one participant's right, a long or a short, the other participant's wrong, certain open interest gets intrinsic. And if the stock keeps moving in that direction, it puts more and more pressure. Now on Friday, this can kind of hit a climax in the risk profile of how the dynamics of options work. And market makers are the ones that hedge that risk. So it actually can fuel a move. So that's the long and short concept behind it. Really, I think most people use expected move to understand if I'm doing something in this series, like if I'm trying to decide on a trade, the option market tells me a little bit about the probability of that trade. Like if I'm long Apple and I'm giving it, let's say I'm giving it 8 days to be long biased, the option market tells me, well, this is earnings, so we are getting into earnings, but in general, the option market tells me how much upside does Apple price right now. It's a little bit of a implied move, implied volatility, implied movement. But if I'm saying Apple's going to go to 160, this right here doesn't agree with me. It's too low relative to the current price and the market pricing, who's actually trading it. So, the expectation of movement can be somewhat ascertained by these numbers. And a lot of traders will simply say most of the time you're going to stay within that boundary. It's a higher probability event, a 1 standard deviation event. So you often see a lot of selling around those boundaries. You sell premium, the risk out here is high, but the probability is low. So high risk, low probability. I don't know how to put risk, but risk. So people sell those. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes there are breaches, significant ones, and that's when a lot of pressure is put on the stock. So, and obviously, earnings skews that because the market knows that the stock's going to move. So you have to pay more to hedge your risk. That's the whole point of an options contract, is to protect yourself if you're holding the underlying, or speculate without having to hold the underlying. Yeah, Netflix is a good example. Earnings events, binary events are good examples. Earnings, Fed meetings, anything that's up and coming, the data's known, and the market's trying to protect itself. We try and take advantage of that through these metrics. You want to buy a long put to hedge, short put deep in the money. What's the best to look at to get it cheap? If you have a deep in the money short put, depending on how much time is left, you might want to look into, you might want to cap it off actually in the same series, or you can look at further series and expose a little bit of the long put premium to try and capture some of that downside move. But by the time you're deep in the money on a contract, whether you're long or short, it's essentially synthetic. So you may even look at actually shorting the underlying at that point to protect yourself against further decline, or rolling out your put. There's a lot of ways to kind of manage intrinsic put, but if if you're looking to buy more puts, you're putting yourself at risk of just another swing in the underlying. It could move back higher, and now your protection is underwater, and you're still intrinsic on your deep in the money put. So, okay, so I think we're good for today. Thanks everybody. If you liked what we covered, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back next week, so y'all have a great rest of the trading week. And as always, stay tuned for pre-market prep. Talk to y'all next time.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm all right. How are you?
Good, brother. Good. Doing all right. Hope you had a great day yesterday. And we'll see how things are going here this morning. Let's take a quick look, guys, at our gappers list. A lot of stuff in the red. Some names I never seen before, but you can see here quite a bit in the red this morning. When you quickly look at this list, you look at this gappers list, you think that the SPY is in the red, but it's not. It's doing pretty good. And the only ticker I recognize quickly is Tesla. So not sure what industry is this leading the way this morning, but a lot of it
I would
in. Is
I
this
think you
correct?
need to refresh your
Oh,
scanners. I
okay.
had an issue this morning with it. Just do a refresh
Okay, let's see here.
because yeah.
Yeah, I found this so weird. Like, there's rarely do we see so many tickers down, and the
hmm
SPY's rallying the
Yeah,
way it is.
no, that's there's getting some data from yesterday or something in there.
Okay, cool. That will make perfect sense. Let's see. Let's get this started up again here. Trade ideas, and we'll see what's going on there. All right. Fire. Oh, that is
There you go.
much better.
Much more manageable, right?
Yes, and it makes more sense. I was like,
Yeah.
why? I mean, I looked at him like, the SPY's gapping up. There's no way this is
Why
happening.
is everything down? Yeah,
Yep.
the same
All right,
issue.
there we go. Much better, guys. A very nice list here this morning. Got some big names here like Tesla. Today we'll dive into that as well. But before we do that, quick look at the stuff we had yesterday on the list, and we said it. Norm, you said it specifically. That you wasn't happy about this list yesterday, and there was a lot of chop in here. You had three, I think, really good ones. It was Netflix, Neo. I mean, Neo is just going to the toilet, guys. This thing just continues to drop, making it new lows, I believe now. And you had Nvidia. I mean, these three were really nice. Tesla was extremely choppy, expected, going into earnings today. Ali, I didn't really look. I got a little better, I guess, after there. So that's nice. And then United was again just choppy. So not a whole lot that looked great. But if you're looking at any of those three, Netflix, Neo, and Nvidia, at least from my list, you could have done very well yesterday. They trended, not trended, they traded the entire day pretty nice. Um, Although, just a reminder, the price action on Netflix was a little bit funky. It eventually moved up, but the pullbacks, it's like Tesla's child here, the way it pulls back, and it's somewhat tougher to trade. With that said, let's go over to the market pulse and kind of see what's happening there. What's the latest in greatest this morning.
All right, man. So we just had initial jobless claims and continuing claims come in. Initial jobless claims were a little bit lighter than expected. It's caused the market to start to go down a little bit. We're in the good news is bad news. The Fed, everybody wants to see something break just a tiny bit, not so that it damages things, but just enough. Did my camera go away or what happened?
Yes, it did. It's gone. Let me try to refresh on mine just in case. Yeah, I don't see it coming in.
Okay, I'll have to work on that in a second. Apologies. They want to see things crack just a little bit, not so it breaks the economy, but just so that a hint that the Fed might slow down on interest rate hikes. Bond markets continue to be strong, and that's no bueno for the stock market. So we're going to be in a little bit of choppy trade. The one good thing we've had relatively good earnings coming in for the last week. Exception to that is a little bit is Tesla, which we'll get into. They had earnings last night, but of course there are other exceptions as well. But it's a big one we'll get into today. Still some chaos going on over in the UK political system with currently the Prime Minister hanging in there against the lettuce, but who knows who will win that. She just resigned literally while I'm talking. Holy.
She was watching our show.
I guess so, man. I literally bringing it up, and she resigned as I'm talking about it. So lettuce wins. I think that chaos is probably more of the reason why the market's diving than the actual data that came out at 8:30. It could be a little bit of both, but wow. That's crazy. Okay, cool.
That is insane.
Literally as I'm speaking about it. That's anyway. 10 a.m. we've got existing home sales and leading economic indicators. 1:45 we've got the Fed governor speaking. So that's it.
Fun. Market's taking a turn here into the red as news is breaking out because of Norm and his comments and that's making things happen there. But yeah, guys, let's get into it here. Our gappers list this morning, some stuff in the green, much more in the red. We'll take a look at some of these first ones that are leading the way here. Control A, Control X. Shana, yes.
I've never crumbled a government before, Carlos.
Man, that's a nice line to put on your resume. They will not mess with you. Here's a
sorry, guys, for our UK friends are in here. I'm not French, so don't get mad at me.
Yes. INDO, guys, low flow stock leading the way this morning. It is up 10%. Not looking great at all. We'll spend no time on this. There's no volume. It's just nothing happening here. I don't know why that's up 10% with just 300,000. Very strange. Silo, same thing here, was up 5.4. Well, it's up higher, maybe like 15 here. But now down to 1.1 and it's still dropping. So that's not fun either. This is not a good setup for what we're looking to do. Let's get our daily so we get a big picture as well. Oh man, what an ugly daily chart. All right, let's move down to Lee. Lee this morning, they are gapping up 3%. Again, Chinese tickers, guys, just taking a hit here across the board. Everything. Baba, Neo yesterday, just massive drops. Things are just not good overall with a lot of the Chinese tickers. So Lee's seeing a little bit of relief here, up 3%, 862,000. It's a weird 862,000 because we're just kind of flat and not doing a whole lot. So could be interesting. I'm going to put it as a possible for now, but it might not even stay there. Let's see. Just want to come back to that and see what develops there. On the gap down list, we have all this morning, and all right now taking a nice drop of 11.5, 111,000 shares traded. Doesn't trade a lot of volume for the most part, and every single day here, you're seeing about 2 million shares traded. I don't know. Could be too thin for us to be looking at this. I'm going to keep it off my list, guys. If you're watching this and you see something happen there, throw it back out to us. We'll take a look. AA this morning, Alcoa is down 9.5. Alcoa could be a hit or miss. It depends. I've seen some really good trades on it. I'm going to put it as a possible for now. No, I'm not sure if you had a chance to dig into this as our gappers list was a little funky this morning. But is
Yep,
Alcoa
absolutely.
showing something good news wise?
Yeah, they had earnings last night. They were pretty bad.
Hmm. All right, so definitely worth looking at. Again, not usually the best trader, but on a day like today where they're gapping down so much, you can see some good action there. AMPX, I see him before many times on our list. It just looks horrible. I don't want to deal with that. So we'll skip that for now. Tesla, the elephant in the room this morning, earnings, and we are down 6.1 today. Norm, give us the latest and greatest on this
Yeah,
thing.
earnings last night. They had the earnings per share were a beat. Their revenues were a little bit light. Musk was pumping it, saying they've got their pedal to the metal and doing everything they can, despite any kind of slowdown or anything in the economy. They will continue to produce cars as quickly as they can. The interesting note is that he says he thinks he can build Tesla's market cap to exceed that of Apple and Saudi Aramco combined, the two largest companies in
Yes.
the world. I think as of close yesterday, Tesla's market cap was roughly 750 million. Apple and Saudi Aramco both have market caps about 2.2 trillion. So it's like 4.4 trillion. So about 6.25 times its current market cap. That would be amazing. Not sure how he would accomplish that. But at the same time, I don't, if there's anybody I'm not going to put it past, I'm not going to say that person can't do that. It would be him. So
It would be him. I agree. It's a lot of perfume sales that we have to make.
Sean is asking what the Saudi Aramco ticker is. It does not trade on U.S. markets. I think it trades over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Exchange
So
over there.
interesting stuff here, guys. Tesla in play today will be the first ticker we add on our list. Obviously, should be a whole lot of fun. So we'll throw Tesla here. There we go. What's going on? There it is. Tesla. Link this up. Perfect. All right. So Tesla on deck, guys. Best ticker so far this morning. Really, really active. 2.8 million shares traded. We're going to see that thing go insane today. The NLI, this is down 4%, 141,000. Not seeing a whole lot right now. Looks a little bit light on the volume on regular days as well. Had a big drop yesterday. They're continuing down this morning. Yeah, I'm not liking much of what I'm seeing here, so I'll skip on this one for now. Here's Mara, also down this morning, 2.4, 515,000. Daily looks interesting, right? We lost this previous day close line, which has been somewhat important to them. We see a lot of support and resistance happening across the board there, and now you're dropping a bit here on Mara. So could be something. I'm not sure if it's a main one, but it definitely worth taking a second look at as we
What's that?
continue this morning.
Mara.
Mara. Yep. Yep. PBR popping up into our gap up list. Just started to get going here, so we'll give it some time. I like the daily breakout here. Not a great trader, but they have their days where they can do very well. I like the breakout here that they had around above 1475. So let's add them as a possible here. We will come back. Norm, anything you like this morning that is not on this list?
I'm going to throw one out there that's going to be in play, but I likely will not trade. That is AAL, American Airlines. They did have earnings. The earnings and guidance came in strong. They were on the gappers list earlier, above 2%. They've pulled back just with the general market, I believe. They probably, and I'm trying to see, their conference call started right when you and I came on. So it might be something they said on that's going on. But things can go back and forth on those calls.
Yeah.
I don't like stocks priced this low, and it we'll see how in play it is.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I like the volume right now, 2 million. So that part of it is good, gapping up 1%. So looking decent right now. Let's see if that can continue there. Anything else, Norm, you like?
Lettuce.
Lettuce, yes. Lettuce for sure. We'll take a look at some of the stuff you guys like this morning. So throw some names out. I know that we haven't looked at our usual possibles yet, so we'll let you guys throw those out. But we'll start with Stefan. You're giving us
God save the lettuce.
Snap. You're giving us Snap this morning, and Snap is up 1.6, 747,000. It's okay. You know what? It's just I find Snap so difficult to trade. At times, you know that they are lower price ticker. I don't know. Is there any news on there today that you like? Maybe there's something that
Snap had earnings after the close tonight.
Okay.
There is some word of I did see a headline about UK watchdog fires warning shots at Snap and Twitch on safety.
Okay.
Maybe they took some explicit photos of lettuce.
Yeah. Usually, this is what tends to happen, and again, not always, but usually before earnings, especially on better known name companies. Tesla, Snap is well known, not big, but well known. It's just go sideways. Look at Tesla yesterday. I mean, you had nothing happening. Everybody's just gonna wait. I mean, why? Why? Let's just wait for tomorrow. Let's wait for tonight. Does it always work out that way? But just look at Tesla yesterday. So I'd rather watch this tomorrow when I know it's gonna be in play. I know for sure tomorrow or in tonight. Tonight you might have some opportunities if you trade that. Again, very risky to trade earnings play. You got to know what you're doing. But tomorrow we'll have it on our list. Heading down here, check out T. Let's check out T here, Nathan. T. Oh, this is AT&T, right? AT&T, I believe, or T-Mobile. What is T? T is AT&T. Okay, so they're moving here. They got some good volume actually for a nicey stock this morning. 1.7. They're up 3.3. Could be interesting. Typically, they don't trade very well. I find them very, very choppy, especially at the market open. A lot of these telecommunications companies don't trade well. Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T.
Just the ATR on that. What is it on T? There was one time when they were merging, or had something going on.
Yeah, all that news.
That they would move a lot. This is not that. Time.
So it's actually I also going to say I'm surprised.
ATR is 39 cents.
I was looking at the wrong ATR. I'm like, I'm surprised it's even 61 cents because that would be good for a $16 stock. But I was looking at PBR. It's 19 cents, you said?
No, I think it's like 39.
39, yeah, I have 42.
You got 42. It's just different.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, not sure. I again, it is moving here. I just don't know how.
If you like watching paint dry, that trade's for you.
Yeah, I agree. Let's take a look here. What else you guys like? American Airlines. Yeah, I have that on here actually. American Airlines is good. I like the volume today. And Norm mentioned they're on their call. Oxy looks interesting. Usually Oxy does do some pretty cool stuff. It does look interesting on the daily. Can't go too much on the pre-market. You know that it's usually all over the place, and then it turns better. Actually might be worth taking a second look at here. IBM isn't on the list, but it's gapping up. Where is IBM? I don't see it on our gap up list, but we will take a look at it. Not BIM, IBM. Here we go. Gapping up 4.1, light on the volume. Again, another one that trades extremely light, guys, as far as volume. And I keep bringing that up because that's important. You need to, the way we trade, you need to have volume. You need to have this volatility. You got to have price action. And IBM is one that normally doesn't trade. You can see it down here, almost less than 5 million shares, I think, per day, right? So that's very light. Even when you're moving in a direction, that type of price action for the way I trade, my strategies don't work out too well. So although they're gapping up, I just don't see a lot going on here. Now, here's one thing to keep in mind. They are sitting on the New York Stock Exchange. So this pre-market action is not going to have great volume. It can turn really good after the bell. Norm, I'm not sure if IBM has any news this morning. They usually don't move like this. Oh,
IBM actually on the list. Yeah, they had earnings after the close yesterday, but I didn't.
Yeah, they're not on the list.
IBM's terrible.
Yeah, it is. So Christian, T and IBM, yeah, both for earnings. Yeah, they're not great. Slim pickings today. Tesla and American Airlines. That is what I have right now. I added Oxy here because the daily looks very nice this morning. We can also add another one that will probably be in play today is Netflix for secondary play today. So I like Netflix on the list here. I'm not doing a whole lot right now, but we'll see how this goes. If we're going to be going for a run up to the highs of yesterday, 278, or to the lows of yesterday. We'll see what the deal is today with Netflix. So I do like that one for a continuation today. And when I say continuation, I'm not talking about up. I'm talking about just in play continuation today. IBM we looked at. Not liking that. AZN. I don't think I ever traded IBM, by the way. AZN. Let's see here. This one we are down 1.3, 212,000, losing a key level here at the moment. This previous day close line, you can see there's a lot of support happening there, and we're losing that once again. Last time we lost that, we went down to 5250, it looks like. So if you're looking at that and you like that situation there, I know this one could be a hit or miss. You can definitely put this on your list. I don't like this ticker myself personally, but I do like the daily that you're showing here for a possible breakdown. So yeah, add it to your list if you like the way that is setting up there. AMPX, we did look at AMPX earlier. Where did it go? We did, it wasn't our list, AMPX. I think it dropped down, right? Oh, it was on the gap down. Now it's firing up here. Okay, so again, not a fan of this, the way this thing trades. It'll be on our gap up list shortly if it continues to ride like this, the way it is right now. Float on this thing is 18.3. Might be good today if they can get some good volume in here. They're picking up. Actually, yeah, good low flow. I probably won't trade it with how great other things have been in our main list, But yeah, definitely volume's picking up pretty fast here. Trying to get into the green at the moment. So thank you, Stock Pigeon, for calling that out. American Airlines moving. I see you guys throwing that out. American Airlines. Oh, okay. So something was said. Are they in their Q&A? That's usually what happens, right? No, they're in their Q&A part and they start asking some questions, or something was said that they don't like here. So big drop on American Airlines, down 2% now, and some huge volume being thrown around. So yeah, that will be in play today. It looks like it's setting up to be a good one this morning. I mean, American Airlines, Tesla is good. Yeah, we are set, guys. I don't see anything else that I like at the moment. Again, not a whole lot to choose from today, but as we get close to the market open, we'll find some things. Spice back to break even at the moment here. I'm just slightly above the previous day close after getting a little bit of a drop. Let's see what it does here. Are we moving back up and continuing what we had going early this morning, or are we changing direction? That'll be interesting, and that's going to also help us get more stocks here on our gappers list or possibly in play. United Airlines moving with American Airlines. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, these guys are, they're all in the same. Yeah, that drop is a sympathy move, right, with American Airlines. So American Airlines is the one with the volume, so that is the one that we'll be taking a look at. All right, all set, my friends. Let's go ahead and take a look at our community events and announcements. I didn't miss anyone. Looks like I did not. Oh, Neo. Yeah. Jose, agree. Neo. Yeah. I see. Neo might just become chop today. They have too many great days here selling down, and I don't think they have the strength to bounce back up. But let's see. I like the volume this morning. Let's see where that goes. All right, guys, let's take a look at our community events and announcements and for this week, and we'll come back and fine-tune this list.
All right. Every Monday, onboarding and technology with Carlos, 8 p.m. Everybody's able to join that. You don't even have to be a member. You can sign up on the homepage at the top. There's a email capture. It'll put you in a list where you'll receive the link to that just before the beginning of the webinar. So be sure to check that out. Then on Tuesdays, we've got strategy. Carlos was this week at 8 p.m. That orb should be up. If it's not, it will be soon. And the moving averages next week. With Andrew, 8 p.m. Eastern, talking about which ones he uses, why he uses those, and how he uses them. All right, psychology. Mike's webinar should be up soon. It might already be up already. Actually, I think I saw it in there. And then Randy Howell next week, scared money, knowing better, but chasing losers. Don't do it. Mentoring today with John at 11 and Thor at 8. We've got tradingterminal.com, our one-stop shop for trading information, everything from news, the squawk, scanners, etc. Check that out. And stocktradingsimulator.com, our free web-based replay simulator where you can hone your trading skills 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't been in the room, you'd like to give it a shot, you can do so with a no obligation intro membership. It is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Use the promo code PreMarket24. It'll get you a discount off of that. It's a one-time charge. It does not recur. And if you'd like to become an elite member, use the promo code READ50 to get half off the elite annual membership and a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right. Thank you very much, Norm. Guys, let's get into our list this morning. Again, we don't have a whole lot here. We have Tesla, which is definitely in play. Great volume this morning after earnings last night. We have American Airlines doing some pretty big stuff here. Some nice moves coming in the last couple of minutes. They also got an incredible volume at 2.7. Oxy, I like Oxy's daily today. You can't put a whole lot away in the pre-market, but they're daily looking pretty nice if they want to break out towards 70. Netflix, not very quiet. Netflix, I thought it would be a little more active this morning, but pretty quiet right now. We'll see at the market open how it's going to be treated. And then Neo here, a bit all over the place. They have volume above their previous day close after a massive drop yesterday, again from 1177 all the way down to 1070. So they just continue to have these a big drawdowns, right? You can see it here. Their drawdowns have been pretty aggressive. The pullbacks are very small, and then the drawdowns you can see here how bad they are. So yesterday was extremely high volume than usual, and they already trade great volume over a 50 million, but yesterday hitting 99 million shares traded. So you could tell things are getting interesting for Neo. Well, they've been interesting. They're getting questionable for Neo. And then some secondary stuff here. T, I don't like the way T trades, and that's why I have it down here. Today, it could be the day. Today could be the day. They have earnings. They have 1.8 million shares traded. But I've seen this stock before. If you're wondering why it's not on my main list, it trades poorly, even at times when it has all these numbers. So, but if you like it, put it on there. You just got to be patient. The moves can happen very slow. PBR, like the breakout. We need more volume here. Alcoa. AA is actually, again, not bad on AA, guys. So we'll keep it here. I might move that one up if we don't find anything else. We haven't looked at Apple yet. Here is Lee, which again starting to drop after gapping up this morning. Not sure why. And then we have Mara. Let's take a look at Apple today. Yeah, Apple's just doing overall market stuff. This could be a good one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have room for Apple. Why not? Let's throw Apple in here. Oh, I'm forgetting one. I'm forgetting one actually. Nvidia. Nvidia. Because Nvidia, I think you guys mentioned it in the chat as well. Nvidia was so great yesterday. I mean, it's worth watching today as well. So they've been trading very, very nice. All right, that is what we have, guys. Let's take a look at some levels here. Let's start with Oxy. So Oxy right now, actually, no, let's start with the top ones, Tesla. Tesla high in play today. Great volume stuff going on here. 207.03 is the low of the pre-market. Towards the bottom, we hit the lows of, I want to say 204. Yeah, around 204 here just a couple of days ago. So that's the below our pre-market low at the moment. Pre-market high at 212.37, and then above that, plenty of stuff, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. I'm not gonna go back and look at the low from this. Gonna be some time, but if we do hit that low, which again I don't know if we're going to do that unless the SPY drops, we can go back and look at some levels. American Airlines 2.8 right now, so volume continues a little bit insane at the moment. So really not tradable right now. Pre-market is doing all this stuff back and forth. We just don't know what to expect. I mean, how will you trade this? What's your strategy, right? So 13.11, low of the pre-market, and at the moment, you're kind of stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. High of the pre-market all the way up at 14.49, so we'll slam that level there as well. And then you can see here that 1449 has been an area where they've seen some resistance, a lot of days opening, closing across the board at 1449. So no reason that is where they decided to park their high of day, their high of pre-market this morning. So that looks good there. This thing can swing the other way very aggressively, especially with what's going on their call and their earnings and everything being released. I'm going to mark some levels here at 1572 and all the way up at 1503, right? So the range right now on this thing can easily swing heavily the other direction and hit those numbers. And if you're looking at towards the bottom, very clean level, of course, at 1186. I mean, it doesn't get cleaner than that, guys. Look how straightforward that level is. If we look towards the top, you have a nice level here as well, 1271. So you ask why did I pick 1271 instead of this one here? Because this has way more touches, right? Look at the touches you have here. 1271, right? So I'd rather mark the 1271. Is also closer to the price action. I think people will be looking at this before they look at this one candle here, right? That's just my take on it. But either one, you can go off. They're a couple of cents off, but that's the reason I'm picking 1271 there. All right, let's take a look here at Oxy. Oxy this morning daily looks very nice for potential breakout. Pre-market action again never is going to give you any great information. They're very light in the pre-market action for the most part. 68.78 high of the pre-market. Above that we do have 70.80 and we do have also 71.96. Do not need to mark down anything towards the bottom, guys. Pretty set here. Previous day close, highs and lows. Got tons of support happening here. The nice thing today is this breakout we're getting out of what is this 68.53-ish or so. Breakout we're getting out of that previous day close, looking very nice. Netflix, I think it's going to be interesting this morning. I want to say we might get some sell down here. I don't know. I can go either way, but I think that we might have some down moves here this morning. We'll see. 273.50. High of the pre-market, year low is sitting at 269.91, dropping down a little bit here. We'll see where that goes. The SPY obviously could change things as well. Outside of that, you have your highs and lows for yesterday, right? So rounding that, so you're good there. Towards the bottom, you guys have a nice gap here at 250. And if we look to the left, we have anything in between here. We don't have much to go by because this island is kind of here on its own, right? You go straight here. There's nothing here and here unless you go further back, which I'm not going to do. You got this huge gap down. If you guys remember this in April, that was when they lost 2 million users, some crazy number. And obviously that was not good. So we'll see. Netflix, I think, will be in play today. Volume's very light, which I'm shocked. When I opened up this is the first ticker I looked at this morning. Let me know which one you looked at first. You could tell me on Twitter at Carlos MBBT. But yeah, I'm shocked that it didn't have more volume than what it has right now. All right, let's see what else, guys. We have Neo 1.3 million shares traded. This thing just continues to drop. It's gonna go to $5. This thing is so bad. It just has no breaks. Cannot find any support. This morning, low of the pre-market is right below the previous day close at 1082. Above that high of the pre-market is 1120. So you mark those two, and then you have your highs and lows towards the top there. I want to see how low can we go here. We passed our previous 52-week low, which was hanging around in May. So we're below that. We try to hold on to that 12, could not. We lost that yesterday. Let's see. Let's look at a weekly. What do we have here? Okay, the weekly is good. We're going back to 2020, June, April, right? June, April 2020. We are looking at the next level on the weekly, 932, and then you have a nice gap up there. So we'll mark that there. You know what? Let's mark 691. We're not going to get to 691. I mean, you know what? Let me not say that. The way this thing is going, we can definitely get there. Look at this weekly. Every week has been red, big red candles on the weekly. It's just, as Andrew would say, no mercy for Neo here. All right, so that is it. Let's take a look at Apple this morning. Apple is eventually, I think, by the way, going back to Neo, it'll get to the point where it just can't trade as good as it's trading now, right? It'll just go flat if it's going to hold some kind of low support. But right now the volume has been great, so we're going to ride that thing until it decides to stop trading well. The IPO that at $10. Oh wow, so that could be a good hold for them. Maybe we'll see. Apple this morning, guys, moving very well. It's a SPY dropping. I see Apple dropping here. 142.20 low of the pre-market, and once you put that there and the high of the pre-market, I think you're set. Two levels in here: high of the pre-market, low of the pre-market, and you're set. Our high is at 144.48, and if you look across the board, I think you got the nice range happening here, and you got the ping pong action trying to break out, and I think that's all you need to do here for right now. So we're set there. Nvidia, good stuff yesterday, this morning. Pre-market action, pretty. I mean, really, literally flat. You can see here high of the pre-market 122, and the low over at I'm not gonna mark the low because it's literally like 2 pennies off off the lows from yesterday, right? So that's going to be more important for me. I'm going to keep that there instead. So once you put your high of your pre-market on this thing, you're set, guys. That is NVIDIA for you there. And again, traded very, very nice yesterday. Had an initial pop to drop down a little bit lower than we like, right? To the below the VWAP, but then it recovered nicely, hits the high of the day. If you missed that, no problem. Get a nice pullback. You can join again. And then look at the continuation you get here. The toppiness, the drop, right? The consolidation above the VWAP. This is nice here, right? You try to stay above the VWAP 1, 2, 3, cannot. Once you drop down that pullback, great opportunity for sure. And you can see it with the continuation. So NVIDIA gave you everything in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you find a couple of moves back up towards the VWAP. I mean, it was just great. It was an amazing, amazing stock to trade yesterday. All right, guys, that is what we have. Let's take a look at our low flow of the day right now. AMPX, what are we doing here? We're back down 3%, 1 million shares traded. Had this initial pop, so it just woke up and started going crazy here. Can it get back into the green? This looks good right now, though, right? Because you got kind of like the bull flags happening here, ABCD patterns on the VWAP. So that looks good for still a stock that can stay in play here as a low float. Let's see if they can get up, if they can continue to go up. If they go down back to this area, then they're no good if you're looking to trade this type of low flow. M Ali, why Oxy? You know, I like the daily on Oxy. That's really much it. And the thing with Oxy is, you know, you're not gonna tell how great it is into the market open. And we've seen this type of pre-market action, and we get a day like this, right? That's just the way Oxy does. It doesn't give you much activity pre-market, so we know that. I'm telling you, if you go back and look at these great days, and you look at their pre-market activity and their volume, it'll look something like this. You know, it just doesn't have a whole lot going. So I like the Paso break on the daily here, but after I added Apple and Nvidia, because I didn't have these two, you know, Oxy is probably the weakest link on this list. They might get pushed down this morning, because I'll prefer to watch like an Apple or an Nvidia, where you know you're gonna get some movement. So Oxy, out of all of these, if I look here, is probably the weakest link on this list. Yeah, definitely is, because even Netflix, although it has not much going on, I think Netflix will move today one way or the other. I don't think we're gonna sit and chop on Netflix. I just don't. I think we're gonna test either the low or the high on this thing. So we might get some kind of push one way on that. What else we have? XBEV. Uh, let's take an XBEV. You know, we did look at Snap. We'll take a look at Snap again, but we did look at it. XBEV, yeah. I mean, XBEV. You also have Lee, right? These are all looking very similar. They gapped up a bit today, except for Neo. Neo didn't gap up much, or at least gave it back right now. I'd rather watch Neo. I think this one's been trading really, really good. But you can look at any of these Chinese tickers, Chinese EV specifically. They have not been having fun. You could take a look at those. Baba, Baba, I knew Baba was going to be great yesterday. Look at that. Look at that nice drop. This morning, they're not really gapping up a whole lot. So Baba might not be one to look at. So Snap has earnings tonight. And as I mentioned before, if you look at like Tesla or tickers when they're coming up to earnings, you get a lot of chop, right? So I don't think you're gonna get like a big move on Netflix today. I think you're just gonna see some chop into after hours, where you start the numbers start coming out of their earnings, and then tomorrow these guys will be in play, right? Tomorrow they'll be in play based on their gap up or down. Um, all right, guys. Anything that we missed that you like? I see moderators coming in with their list. I have Amen. I have Thor. So I see some lists building up already. We'll get to those in just a second here. INTC. INTC this morning. I personally don't like it. I don't see anything great on it. It looks very flat right now. So yeah, it's not a great trader too, right? So for example, let's say you were looking for some kind of breakout here because we're holding support or a breakdown on the daily. It just doesn't trade very well overall. CFC, thanks, man. I always appreciate you being here. Over on YouTube, if you haven't done so already, it's a great opportunity to hit that thumbs up. We're sitting at 125 likes. We'd love to get over 200, 250 would be incredible. So if you could help us do that, we greatly appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything. We promise we will not charge you for hitting that thumbs up. So definitely help us there. Carlos, not the best trader, but IBM had earnings. Yeah, IBM and AT&T. AT&T looks a little better because at least you're seeing some life on AT&T, right? It's alive. It's doing something, right? 3.92 million. Even though it's in the New York Stock Exchange, they are getting some love here. IBM is just like, man, it's just nothing. There's just no life here at all. So it could be in play today. I just think they're gonna trade so not bad. Bad is not the word. Just so light on volume. That's just my thing. And that's typical IBM. I mean, guys, look at this day here. Look at this day. 116 to 121, right? You traded 5 million shares. Now, don't get me wrong. You can still catch a trend here and do very well. But I prefer stock with high flying volume where things are moving, where I can read the price action better. That's a big thing too, guys. If you trade a stock, that has no volume, it becomes more difficult to read the price action. Right? Let's look at Tesla, is moving right now. Oh, look at Tesla on the move here. Trying to get going. If you look at Tesla, we'll look at a 1 minute, right? You see this red line here. This thing when it's moving up and down and going up and showing resistance and pulling back like it's doing now, it's not doing it as great because it's pre-market. That is a big help to tell what the price action is going to do. When it goes up to 209, is it being pushed back down and coming back up? Pushed back down and coming back up. That type of action is important. Is the push down very aggressive and then they have to come all the way back up? Or is it push down here and up, here and up, here and up? You're not going to get that with a stock that doesn't have volume. And this to me tells me a lot. It's like the heartbeat of the stock right there, right? It tells me, okay, that pullback was too much. They didn't catch up fast enough. Maybe it's looking a little weak. We keep slamming against it like this, man. The buyers are on it. They want to break through this level. So you're not gonna get that on IBM, and that's one of the reasons why I prefer to watch something with volume, even if IBM can put in a day like this, right? I'm
There you go,
like,
buddy.
say again.
There you go.
Oh, good. What you got for me here? Let's take a look. Oh, it's no, this is you,
Yeah.
my man, my man. Yes. Look at Norm's action here. So Norm's
My ad was a little bit bigger my ad was a little bit bigger, so I took some off right there at break even. That's why I have that red right after the green.
Yeah.
I got a little nervous. I reduced it a little bit, but then we got what I thought was going to take place. So I still got a little bit left.
Very nice. Well done, my friend. Well, Norm, you can go back to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent stuff, man. Excellent stuff. Um, and again, see, you wouldn't trade this, Norm, if you didn't have price action, activity, movement, volume. You need that because you just can't read the stock otherwise, right?
Yep.
So that's very, very important. All right, folks, we're sitting at 9:11. Let's get to our moderators watch. Let's see Brian's on deck as well with his list. We'll look at this and see what's going on with our team, and we will get ready for the market open on this beautiful cold Thursday here in New Jersey. Let's disable the video here, and we will bring this watch list over. Great time to hit that thumbs up as I set this up for you guys. And here we go. All right, guys, we're looking at aiming potential longs, XOM, very risky, potential shorts, AMD. Thor, we're looking at the Qs and the SPY today, Tesla, BA, and XOM as well. Brian's list, Tesla, AA, XE, XLE, and also the Yang this morning. Peter, looking at some IPOs coming out today, LAPX, SPI, and also Prime or PRME. No SPACs this morning, and then Megan will be looking at Netflix and Tesla, two ones that have been very good the last couple of days. And then Peter, AMD, Apple, Netflix. Oh, where's Peter? Oh, Peter went away. Peter appeared and went away for a second. So that's what we have. There it is. AMD, Tesla, Apple, and then secondary list, AT&T, American Airlines, and Alcoa this morning. All right, so that is what we have, my friends. A pretty better list than yesterday, that's for sure, right? With the big boy Tesla here, we do have a Neo, which again not doing great right now, but we'll see where it goes. Nvidia was amazing yesterday. Apple following whatever the SPY does, so not a bad list. AT&T for those that would like to watch something like that, I won't, but definitely today will be the day if they're going to do something. I think we are all set, my friends. That is our list for today. I don't think we missed anything. And yeah, perfect. We'll call it. Brian is on deck, so we'll let Brian come on in and do his thing. Guys, thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. Subscribe and like if you haven't. We will be live tomorrow at 8:30, not 8 a.m., but 8:30, as there is no engineering the markets on Friday. So Norm and I will hop on at 8:30 and build our list to end the week. So looking forward to see how this watch list is going to be and our good old friend, the spy here. So take care and trade safe, guys.
You got it. Take care. Trade safe. Have a great day.